Welcome to Generally Speaking, the off-season edition. I'm your host, Angelo, known as at NJ_Generals on Twitter. Make sure you follow me and make sure you follow USFL Today. That's our main account, at USFL Today on Twitter, at USFL Today on YouTube. That's where you're going to find all of our material. Now, we're looking forward to bringing in our next guest. He's a tight end. Big part of the Generals offense last year, none other than Mr. Woody Brandom. Woody, welcome to the show. How are you?
Angelo, it's good to see you. How you been?
I've been great. It's good to finally connect with you. I've been chasing you since probably the middle of the year, and I know you were busy with preparing for games and stuff, but here we are now with just a couple months till training camp, and we finally connect, and I'm happy for that. Thanks.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here.
How's your off-season been going so far?
It's been amazing. I'm down here in Tampa, Florida right now. Weather's beautiful. I'm working out at this gym called the Trench Academy, and I couldn't be more happy.
Tell me about the Trench Academy. What's that like? Who's running that and who you're working out with?
It's Lamarck and Taylor, and it's at this gym called Powerhouse, right? And they have this like separate athletics company called the Trench Academy. And we got about maybe 15 guys in there, 15, 20 guys, just absolutely crushing it every single day. We're hitting speed, weight, and position drills. So, I mean, it couldn't be better than that.
Tell me about what a guy your size, 6'5", about 260. What do you do speed drill? Like, what's that like?
Well, basically, I mean, we're just a more athletic tackle, right? So like position drills, we'll work on some kickbacks. We got some run blocks, and then they also do route work, and that's after everything. So in the beginning, we'll do some like lateral work, we'll do some linear work, and we'll also do some jumping and hurdles and explosive movements.
Is this a daily, like 5 days a week? How often are you going?
Yep. 5 days a week. Yoga optional on Wednesdays.
Ah, nice. So you get a little bit of that flexibility and recovery time in the middle of that intensity that you guys are putting out.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing is Trench Academy also has a nutrition station where it's called the Nutrition Factory, and they cook top quality meals, as well as they have a training room with the boots and the ice and the trainer. So that's also a huge plus as well.
And are you working out with other local like college athletes or other pro athletes? Anyone else that's in the USFL?
Yeah, so I'm currently training with Cam Eccles.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yep. So I'm training with. Yep. I'm training with him, and then a bunch of pro day guys and former pros as well.
Well, that sounds like you're really planning on hitting it hard, hitting the ground running when camp rolls around.
Yeah, Angelo, this is a year for the Generals. We had a nasty taste in our mouth at the end of that semifinal game, and we're hungry, man. And I know it's going to be a completely different year. A lot of new guys signing, but I know what our coaching staff and what our guys coming back are capable of, and we're just going to keep the ground moving.
What you just said is pretty much uniform across every guy I've spoken to that is returning from last year. And I've spoken to a lot of you guys now, and everyone's got that same bad taste left from the semifinal game. Everybody's got that same chip on their shoulder coming into camp. And, Toby and Trey Williams both made some pretty bold predictions about how they feel the season's going to turn out. And it seems like all of you guys are on board with that.
Everybody's on board with it. Everybody knows what we're after. Everyone knows what we're capable of. That last game was not the best representation of who we are as an offense. And I think that our piss will be hot and we will be ready to rock.
Let me ask you a question. I've asked everybody the same question. What happened that day in Canton?
Man, it was just I just feel like we just weren't in sync. Just even from the kickoff, everything kind of just felt like slow motion a little bit, right? And it took us a little while to get under our feet. We got that late touchdown, I believe, in the second half. But when Turp got that kickoff or that punt return, I think we came alive, but then just couldn't finish. And the Stars made a great play down the stretch, and then we just couldn't get rolling again. So, yeah, tough loss, man.
Yeah, stuck in mud might be a good way to describe how your offense was that day. I was sitting right behind the bench in the stands. It was 1,000 degrees, first of all, that day.
Every game was.
Yeah, that's true. It's like they brought Alabama with them to Canton for that weekend, right?
I'll tell you, Angelo. Yeah, every game was hot.
Yeah,
I mean, roasting hot. I remember that Gamblers game. We had Braden go down, and I had played every single snap, man, and that was the hardest game I've played in a while.
So I'm glad you brought that game up, because to me that was the most exciting game you guys had last year, although all of them had something compelling about them. However, in that game, on the last drive, as Luis was trying to bring you guys back from that deficit, we got to around midfield, and it's a 4th and 1. And Luis, 4th and 2, excuse me. So you know where I'm going with this.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a 4th and 2, and Luis is rolling out to the right, and he is getting pushed all the way to the sideline. He's got guys in his face and nowhere to go and looking like nobody's open. And he just like slings this like shot put sidearm duck. And where did you come from to find an open space on the field to make a 15-yard grab and keep that drive going? Because that play kept this, that play saved the game. Tell me about that and what happened, because how you guys pulled that off, we're still trying to figure out.
Yeah, so we basically ran a play action, and I was on the right side of the line, and my job was to step down and then release to the flats. And so once I released to the flats, I immediately got picked up. And so Luis had to scramble out to the right, and I feel the sideline, and I feel like I know I have to make a play. So I see an opening like late to the sideline, and I basically like just scoop right behind the defensive back. And right as I do that, the ball is like halfway in the air. I catch it and hold on to it for dear life.
That play brought me out of my seat at home. It looked like it was over because Luis really had no place left to go. He was out of real estate. And really, it didn't seem like you, when you made the reception, you were in a spot where you belonged on that play, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. So because I released up the field. Like from the flat, I was able to create just more space, and I was able to get open and make a play.
And that's why you were 15 yards down the field at that point. Gotcha.
Correct. Okay. Yeah.
And then of course that drive continues with another key play. You mentioned Cam earlier, throwing that pass to Luis on the left side. Luis catching the ball in the basket, even takes a couple of hits too. And then a few plays later, the winning touchdown on the last play. I mean, I was exhausted after that game. I don't know how you guys felt.
I mean, it was absolutely insane when when we threw, I think what was it on that third down, we threw, and we were able to have 1 second left on the clock. And some of our teammates didn't know, and they're getting so mad and screaming, and we're trying to calm everybody down. Like, yo, we got one more play.
Right.
We got like 5 inches to get, right? So, man, we just, in the huddle, we're like, look, like this is our season. Like we know that this is the game. So Luis, so when we get up to the line, right, we go QB sneak, second sound. And we walk up to the line, and to my right, there's 2 defenders to my right and no one in my inside gap. So Luis catches that, and when he calls hut, he shifts to the right into that gap. And so I pin the guy on the right and the guy behind him. And then that's when Vito comes and rams them into that gap, and we're able to secure that. Man,
I mean, nose of the ball, breaking the plane. That's it on that play.
And it was a crazy coincidence, because I believe the week prior, Pittsburgh had beaten them in the last second of the game. and
Right.
then we had beat them the same way. So
Yeah, they lost about 6 games in a row on the last play of the game, which is a brutal way to live. But
it's absurd.
It is absurd, and for you guys, it seemed like after a win like that, and after a couple of the other wins you guys had, you were really on sort of a magic carpet ride all the way to the playoffs. Like nothing you guys could do was wrong, and there was like this confidence. You could feel it that you guys just knew you were going to win every game when you stepped out onto the field, no matter who you were playing. And that's not like an arrogance thing, just a self-belief, I feel.
I definitely agree with you. I think after that game, we were definitely headhunting. Like we wanted the smoke. And also like knowing that we had Cavante Turpin, Victor and Coach Riley,
Right.
3 MVPs. I mean, we just practiced and everything was so smooth and everyone was dialed in and everyone was so focused on winning every single game. And we just had a consistent just drive throughout the whole season. And it was just, that's what championship football is made of.
Yeah. And now you guys get to come back, defend your division crown, get back to the playoffs, hopefully, and then right that wrong and get into the championship game. I mean, that's the only goal now.
Yeah, and you're just, as a playoff team, you're going to have to get used to playing your division rival 3 times a year. I mean, the NFL is starting to do it now. We're doing it now. I mean, it's tough to win 3 games against somebody. And I know Birmingham was able to do it, and they showed why they were the best team in the USFL.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as a team, we know what we have to do.
Right. So now let's backtrack a little bit. You joined the team a little bit late. I think you got signed the same day as Luis Perez, as a matter of fact, April 1st of last year.
That is correct.
2 weeks before the season started. So you did not have a whole bunch of time in camp to, develop chemistry with quarterback. Even he came on a little bit later. And now this year, though, you'll be starting the year in camp from the get-go and working out with the QBs from the start. How was your chemistry with DeAndre Johnson? He's a different kind of quarterback. What did you like about his game, and what are you looking forward to from him this year?
I love his versatility. I love the fact that he could throw a good deep ball and also keep the drive rolling. It's actually funny you mentioned Dre, because he's actually traveling down here to Tampa to throw with me and Cam.
Awesome.
And so we're just getting that team chemistry down. We're going to get some guys out here and just start throwing early, and getting the rhythm down. I think actually me and DeAndre missed on 2 throws, I think, versus the Breakers, and it's been eating at me ever since. And I can't wait to get things rolling again, man, because it's time.
Now that was the lightning delay game against New Orleans.
It was
that 40-minute delay. So were those plays, and I honestly can't recall the plays that you're talking about where you guys missed. Was that before or after the delay?
One was before, I believe, and the other one was after. I had changed gloves, and because my other ones were wet, but the ones I changed into were the practice ones, and at the front fingertips, the rubber had been coming off, and it went right through my hands, man. Really unfortunate.
But you guys will make it up this year with more reps and in-game action together.
I think so too. I think it's only the beginning, and I mean, even throughout practice throughout the year, me and DeAndre were locked in. So I'm excited for that.
How long are you guys going to be working out for when he gets down there?
I believe 3 to 4 days.
So solid, working on timing and routes and
exactly.
things like that.
And this won't be the first time either. We'll meet again after that.
Have you guys already linked up to this point in the offseason, or will this be the first time?
This will be the first time.
Have you had a chance to work out with any other teammates?
Yeah, so I actually worked out with Luis Perez after the season for a few months because we're both from California. Right. So I went home for a bit, and he went home back to his family. So we were able to link up at Los Alamos Park down in Southern California, and yeah, just I think he's the only one. Yeah, he's the only one.
And you're from Corona, California.
That is correct.
and you went to school initially at Montana State.
Yes.
Tell me about that first year, what that was like, and then how'd your subsequent year go from there?
Yeah, so I'll kind of just give you just a little short preview of high school. So my junior year of high school, I played offensive tackle, and I was first team all conference at 215 pounds at right tackle.
Wow.
Right. My senior year of high school, I decided my frame, my speed, I wanted to go to tight end. Went to a bunch of camps, ended up finishing the season with my quarterback, Blake Barnett, who was the number one quarterback in the nation. He was my high school quarterback, and we were able to knock down 52 receptions for 875 yards.
Wow.
So it was unfortunate because I didn't have the exposure at the tight end position. I was lucky enough to be able to get 4 Big Sky schools to offer. Ended up choosing Montana State, and I loved it from the get-go. It's a small school, obviously, in Montana, so the dorm room is very small.
Right.
And all that good stuff. The weather is something you got to get used to. But I'll say the football experience is once in a lifetime. I mean, the Brawl of the Wild was an amazing experience. Not my redshirt freshman year, but my redshirt freshman year, we played them at their place. I had actually been playing defensive line at the time because a lot of our defensive linemen had gone down. And I was at tight end. I was the 12 personnel tight end. They asked me to move halfway through the season at D-line, and I ended up, doing pretty well. And which kind of ultimately leads to the reason I leave. Me and some of the coaches had some misunderstandings. Nothing crazy, nothing personal. It was just mutual respect, and we both just knew I wanted to go my separate ways, find something new. The original offensive coordinator for Montana State, his name is Tim Cramsey. He actually was the one who introduced me to Sam Houston, right? But the rules back then were that you had to go to a JUCO or you had to sit a year.
Right.
So I made the decision. I wanted to play. Like, I wanted to get some film, and I wanted just to ball, really. So I go back home to Riverside Community College, where I spend that semester playing football and getting my AA degree in kinesiology. End up having just kind of like a mediocre year, a lot of false promise from my JUCO, and just didn't feel good about it. I ended up only getting one offer from Texas Southern, at a JUCO. So I thought long and hard. I thought about maybe going to Central Washington, playing some D2 school up there. Actually had my bags packed. I was going to go with an old former Montana State player, but I just decided, I know I'm worth one more shot. I know I'm worth this last go, and I know Tim Cramsey is going to get me right. So what I had to do, I had to walk on to Sam Houston for one semester, and I had to earn my scholarship. Earned my scholarship that spring, and then that summer got the starting job. Fall camp, obviously, got the starting job, and I ended up playing. I think it was 21 straight snaps or 21 straight games. I started, never missed a play for Sam Houston.
That's amazing. It's an amazing story of determination and self-belief in that you took a route that wasn't a straight line.
Mm-mm.
You went Big Sky, not exactly the upper echelon of D1. Then you go to JUCO, and from there transition to Sam Houston.
Yep. Took a chance on myself going to JUCO, and it really, at the end of the season, I felt like it didn't pay off, and I was nervous. So that's when I took the leap of faith. I'm like, you know what? Like, my parents have my back. I got so much love and support. They're gonna push me through this first semester, and I'm gonna do the rest. And so I ended up doing that, and I ended up getting first team all conference as a tight end. And then I ended up getting an invitation to the NFLPA Bowl All-Star game.
Where was that one held?
That was held at the Rose Bowl.
Oh, right. That's the one that's in Pasadena. That's right.
Yep.
Who coached you in that one?
Hugh Jackson.
Oh, Hugh Jackson. He was the
Yep.
Cleveland head coach. Right. Right.
I just want to mention
Yeah.
how much of a help Chris Cooley was.
Redskin tight end.
Redskin. Yep, he was our tight ends coach there, and he was such a good guy, such a good coach. It's actually like I was able to see him again after the NFLPA Bowl. Obviously, COVID hits, pro days are canceled. I don't get picked up in the draft. I'm feeling it's real crappy and not really knowing my future, right? So that fall, the spring league comes out in San Antonio. I ended up getting the selection there. We ended up playing for the Aviators, and we ended up playing, I think, 3 games before the season got canceled.
Right.
Right. So then that following spring, and mind you, I'm training and I'm working and I'm moving to Tucson, and I start working there. I start working out with a private trainer. And then from there, I go up to Wyoming and I train with Chris Cooley for about 2 weeks before the Spring League 2021 season. And so that season went really bad. Our team went 0-6. But I ended up recording a touchdown, which was awesome, and definitely an experience I don't regret. And then I had a workout with the Saints that summer, didn't get picked up, and then throughout that whole season of that NFL season, didn't get picked up, right?
Right.
And so this USFL rumors started popping up.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to get, excited. I moved back out to Tampa early 2022. And I'm just, it was actually late 2021, early 2022. And we're training, me and my best bud, Matthew Sexton, who's a receiver on the XFL Vipers.
Oh, okay. Good luck to him.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're training out here. He's got his futures contract with Kansas City, and I'm looking forward to this USFL gig. And the only team I had talked to was the Generals, right? And so draft day comes, Braden Bowman gets picked up, and Nick Truesdale.
Right.
So I'm like, man, like I thought I was going to get scooped, but I know this supplemental draft's coming, and I feel good about it. Talking to Coach Losi and everything. Supplemental draft comes around, and they ended up going with some basketball guy, I believe. I don't remember his name, but he was new to tight end. They wanted to give him a shot, and I'm like, oh man, like these guys are making a big mistake, not getting me. So I continue to work. I was working at Chili's as a server, and I'm just grinding, hustling, training 5 days a week, and I get the call from Billy. And he's like, hey, man, you want to come down? Like, I think we're moving a different direction with one of the tight ends, and we'd love to have you down. Packed up my things that day, and I shipped off. Didn't look back.
It's easy to quit that Chili's gig, ain't it? Right then and there?
Absolutely.
Adios, Brinker.
Adios. Man, my lease had been up right then at the end of the month, too, so it was perfect.
Oh, how seamless was that? That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
So you got that call after everybody had already been working out for a couple of weeks too. And, I like that you pointed out, and it's important for people to see and hear what you just had to say, which is you were working out to be a professional football player, professional tight end, and you were waiting tables to make ends meet. Right.
Absolutely.
And many of us in life have waited tables to make ends meet while we were pursuing what our real thing is, right? But I think that there's a misconception that athletes are super privileged, especially on the professional level, and that they just show up on Sunday, catch a bunch of passes, and then chill out for 7 days. So, pulling the curtain back and hearing a story like yours helps people relate a little bit better. You guys are working class dudes like everybody else, kind of.
We're people just like everybody else. I mean, we all gonna make a living, and when you believe in a dream as much as I did, you'll find a way to get it done. I mean, I was making phone calls daily to people that were in the inside scoop. I never gave up. And when the time came, I was ready.
So you were being very proactive as well on your own behalf. You weren't just sitting around waiting for the call. You were letting people know that you were ready, letting people know you were in shape, and doing your end to make sure that that was accurate.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, as a man, you don't want to be sitting in the house all day long. I mean, like you gotta create a rhythm. You gotta create routine, and a routine will save you. Like, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling depressed, whatnot, it's because you're not moving around. So just, I got that job at Chili's. I'm food running and I'm serving and I'm just, doing the whole thing, and I'm training in the mornings and going to work at night. It's just, you just got to do what you got to do.
But now here you are, you're a tight end for the Generals. You're going to start your first full camp with them. And you can look back now and say, man, it was worth it to do all those odds and ends and those things just to put change in the pocket until you got here. And now you're here. Here's a question. What was your major in school?
I graduated with a criminal justice degree.
And your AA was in kinesiology.
Correct.
Interesting. And which of those do you feel like you might see yourself doing after football? Either of those as a career, or maybe something else?
That's a great question. I definitely considered being a fireman or a maybe like a Secret Service, something along the lines, maybe in the FBI. But as of right now, I'm just living in the moment. You know what I mean? I have all that time in the world to focus on careers and whatnot, and I'm just really happy to be where I am.
That is awesome, and that's a great thing to know that, hey, the next step's coming, but right now I'm good where I'm at for a minute.
100%.
Who was outside of the other tight ends? Who was your main man in the locker room?
I'd probably have to say Luis. Me and Luis, probably halfway towards the season ending, we started meeting up for lunch a bunch, and we also would go over plays every night. We'd write all these plays on a whiteboard together, and we go through every single play. And that's the type of leader Luis is. Luis will do anything to make a team better. He definitely made me better, and his consistency was great. I mean, best luck to him, obviously, in the XFL. So I would say definitely Luis.
It's a shame he's not coming back, but you do wish him luck, and everybody's got to make a decision that's best for themselves and their family, right? And you know that's what Luis did. But talk about consistency. It seemed like after every game, Woody, and I was doing my post-game shows and looking over the statistics, the guy was like 18 for 24, 190 yards every single week, it felt like, except for the weeks he didn't play the full game. And you couldn't count on a guy to be more automatic and more consistent than he was.
Yeah, I mean, with DeAndre being so diverse, and Luis being more of a pocket passer, it was awesome to see the way they both worked together, and they both grew together. There was no animosity between the two. They both genuinely wanted to help each other be better and for the team to be successful. And when DeAndre went down, I forget what week.
5.
Luis, it was week 5. He stepped in and just the team just never looked back. And I mean, when we got DeAndre back, things just fell right into place. Like it just everything. Like we just knew how to be such a good team. You know.
I've spoken to a lot of your teammates about this, and it's starting to maybe sound a little cliche, but you guys had, to my opinion anyway, the most together locker room out of any of the 8 teams. And other teams had great camaraderie as well. I know the Stars got along very well. I know the Gamblers, despite their problems, all got along very well too. But you guys seem to be just the most together team. And you were also the team that was least thought of going into the season. Now, by all of the prognosticators. So do those two things go hand in hand a little bit?
Definitely. That definitely motivated us during training camp. As well as that Birmingham game. I think after that loss in the locker room, we all banded together. Yeah, it stung. But we talk to each other and we let each other know that we're a damn good team and that there's really nothing stopping us but us. And so we ended up proving to ourselves and to everybody else that we are a record to handle.
And you guys just ran with that. I mean, that opening night, despite the loss,
yep,
I came out of that saying, wow, the Generals actually looked pretty good. Like,
yeah,
not just like good for this one game, but like there's some talent on this team. And the next week was that very difficult Michigan game that you guys pulled out by only a few points, 10-6, scoreless second half. But then week 3 and beyond, that's when like the offense really started to gel and catch fire, and the defense was just steady Eddie all year long. Even in the playoff game, the defense did their job. They kept the Stars' offense pretty much at bay. The only touchdown was because of the very short field after the interception return. Otherwise, everything else was field goals and
and special teams.
Yeah, and special teams. So it was kind of outside of the normal aspects of a game being won and lost, which is where the Stars took it from you guys,
Absolutely.
But it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Non-football question. What's your favorite food?
Man, I gotta say Mexican food, more specifically tostadas.
Chili's.
No, man, not Tex-Mex. I'm talking true Cali Mex tostadas. You can go veggie with no meat, or you can put some steak on there, whatever you please. But man, tostadas really get it done for me.
And that's like because you're a California guy, that's probably all over the place. Tostadas and Mexican.
Yeah, if you're out in Cali listening to this, go visit Corona and go visit Miguel's Jr. They got the best tostada.
Miguel's Jr.?
Correct.
All right, cool. We'll give them a shout too. That's awesome. What kind of car are you driving?
So right now I'm driving a Dodge 1500, a Ram. It's year 2000, so it's a little bit of a rink-a-dink.
All right.
But it got me from California to Tampa. Thankfully, I drove all the way out here. So
how many miles you got on that thing?
I want to say 189.
Well, that's not bad for like a 20-something-year-old vehicle, though.
Yeah. That thing purrs, man. It gets the job done.
And are you going to be driving to camp as well from Tampa in that thing?
Great question. I considered maybe selling it and then maybe buying a car after the season. I'll probably end up driving it up there.
Maybe sell it in Ohio, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
How psyched are you for camp?
I'm actually really pumped, man. I mean, it's great to I mean, putting in the work now is hard. This is the hardest part about everything about football. Like getting through these double days, like getting through the grind and the soreness and everything. Like once you get into camp, everything kind of starts to mellow out. Everything starts to get a little bit more easy, a little bit more in routine, and then that's basically where the magic happens. Everything you've been doing up until that point, and once you get to that point, you just got to shine, really. And so everyone I know on the Generals team is very excited. Yeah,
I know that the coaches are excited. I've spoken to Coach Smith. I've spoken to Billy. Billy's pretty psyched too for the season to start. And 85% of the team is coming back. So while there will be some new faces, it's still most of you guys from year one. So the new guys got their work cut out for them to blend in with a pretty established locker room.
I'd have to agree. And I think one thing to note for new guys coming in is the workload. Early in the USFL season, I don't know the exact number, but I know it's around 45, maybe around 52 guys on the roster. So you're getting a lot more reps than you'd see maybe like for the NFL guys, maybe that haven't been in the USFL yet. Like you're going to be getting a ton of reps in practice. For the offensive scout and for yourself as well. So I'd just be prepared for it.
There's the message for all the new generals joining the team, right? Get ready to work. Get ready to work.
Yeah, because we get going.
So Coach Riley works you guys, obviously, and I know kind of what the answer is, but talk about what it was like to play for Coach Riley. I know what many of the other guys said they feel about him, but I want to hear your perspective of that.
It was an amazing experience to learn from a coach that has been doing it for so long. Like, you could just tell the confidence in the aura of his presence, like, really brought maturity to the team. And I think the way he put together his staff, I think, was a tremendous job. Coach Losi did a hell of a job coaching the tight ends, as well as Coach Smith coaching the offensive line. And I think for his players that he had for the Generals, I think he played to his strengths, which is very like rare, right? He played to his strengths and he won 9 games. I mean, it's been a while personally for me to see a coach play to his strengths and to know his personnel and to get to the balls to the right guy. So being that he's been to so many places was a lot of help towards my career.
And, I think that his experience also led to, I don't know, just him being a calming presence in the locker room. I know he's very, he can be rah-rah at times, Coach Riley, but he doesn't throw stuff around the locker room, does he? He doesn't break windows.
Never. No, he's very about his business. He knows what he's like. He's not going to throw anyone under the bus. He's not going to call anyone out he's going to talk to you one-on-one if he has an issue. And if not, he's going to be the charismatic, loving coach like we know him as. You know what I mean?
Woody, I really appreciate you taking out the time today to spend a few minutes with us. This was fantastic to learn about you as a person, as well as a player, and get a feel for your work ethic, for your drive, your determination, and all of those other things that make you an awesome tight end and probably an even better teammate. So thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you, Angelo. Best of luck.
I appreciate you too. Please stay in touch. We'll talk during training camp and again, of course, during the season.
All righty. Have a great night.
Thanks a lot, Woody. Ladies and gentlemen, tight end of the New Jersey Generals, Mr. Woody Brandom. I'm Angelo Fioris, also known as @NJ_Generals. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Make sure you follow our main account at USFL Today. That's where you're going to get all the news and notes about our shows. And make sure you follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel, also called @USFL Today. That's it for this week's edition of Generally Speaking. Tune in again next week when I'm sure to have another top New Jersey General on the show. Thanks for listening.